Hi, my name is Ann Morrison, and I'm a dietetic intern and graduate student at the USC Leonard Davis School of Gerontology. And today I will be discussing nutrition and lifestyle habits to protect bone density. Today I will be discussing how our body creates and grows bone tissue. Next, I will discuss key nutrients for healthy bones. After that, I will discuss who is at risk for bone depletion. And finally, what are nutrition and lifestyle habits that protect bone density? Bone growth continues into our 20s and 30s, and this is when we build most of our lifelong bone strength. The quality of the bone we build now directly affects our fracture risk later. Weak bones can lead to serious and costly injuries, which is why early bone health matters. This graph shows how poor lifestyle habits can change our bone destiny. Even though we reach peak bone mass in our 30s, healthy habits can help protect our bones and keep the bone matrix strong and stable. We'll come back to this slide at the end of the presentation to connect these concepts. Osteoblasts and osteoclasts work in concert together to keep our bone tissue healthy. Osteoblasts make the bone cells and calcify and mineralize new bone. Osteoclasts, in contrast, break down old bone tissue to allow for newer, healthier bone tissue. Osteoclasts, importantly, dissolve bone to release minerals the body needs for other uses. Bones store out calcium, and vitamin D dictates when our bones absorb or release calcium. Vitamin D unlocks the door to let calcium into our bones and also controls our gut absorption of calcium. 98% of our body's calcium is stored in our bones. This diagram neatly shows how the scale can tip towards osteoclasts, which break down bone. Poor habits can cause a constant withdrawal of calcium from our bones, and this leads to a weakened bone state. The tipping of the scales can cause osteoporosis and osteopenia to take hold. Osteopenia is the early loss of bone density and often develops before osteoporosis. It's very common, affecting about 1/3 of adults over 50. Osteoporosis is a more advanced condition where bones become porous and fragile. This affects over 10 million US adults, and about 80% are women. Across all ages, getting enough calcium and vitamin D, especially during childhood, adolescence, and early adulthood, is essential for building strong bone mass and lowering the risk of both osteopenia and osteoporosis. Vitamin D is a key player in building strong bones. Up to 90% of vitamin D is made in our skin and dependent on exposure from sun. The other 10 to 20% is obtained from food. Foods high in D include milk, mushrooms, fortified foods, eggs, and fatty fish. It is estimated that approximately 30% of children and 60% of adults worldwide are either vitamin D deficient or insufficient. The major cause of deficiency is a lack of sufficient sun exposure. About 1 billion people worldwide have vitamin D deficiency, and approximately 35% of adults in the United States have vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D deficiency can lead to weakened bones and an increased risk of fractures. Calcium is a key player in building healthy bones. Calcium is the most abundant mineral in our body and makes up much of our teeth and bone structure. Pregnant, lactating, and menopausal women need more calcium. Calcium-rich foods include tofu, sardines, fortified milks, and black beans. Magnesium helps with the structure of our bones and is contained in green leafy vegetables, nuts, and legumes. Magnesium deficiency might be a risk factor for osteoporosis. Foods that are rich in magnesium include pumpkin seeds, spinach, black beans, Brazil nuts, and avocado. Vitamin C helps produce collagen, and that keeps our bones flexible and strong. Excellent sources are contained in citrus fruits, strawberries, kiwi, pineapple, peppers, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, cabbage, and tomato. Studies show a diet rich in omega-3s can prevent osteoporosis. Examples of omega-3s include salmon, olive oil, avocados, and seeds. In addition, studies also show omega-3s could reduce inflammation. Fish oils could have an effect by decreasing inflammation, and that could potentially improve collagen turnover. Protein is another pivotal macronutrient for building bones and muscles. Insufficient protein can affect building bone mass and can lead to physical weakness. Frail people fall more, which contributes to fractures and associated issues. Great sources of protein include beans, tofu, lean meat, fish, eggs, and low-fat dairy. Now let's review risk factors that increase bone loss. We can modify our lifestyle to protect our bones by not smoking or vaping and reducing or eliminating alcohol. Sedentary lifestyle is a risk factor for bone loss. Our standard American diet, or SAD, is also bone depleting. Risk factors we can't change or modify include small body size and certain ancestries in women. Inflammatory diseases like rheumatoid arthritis and a family history of osteoporosis is also a risk factor, as is age. Women with decreased estrogen or menopausal can lose bone rapidly. Women lose bone more rapidly during the first 5 to 10 years of menopause. Osteoporosis, a disease classically attributed to postmenopausal women, is underappreciated, underdiagnosed, and undertreated in men. However, it is not uncommon for osteoporotic fractures to occur in men. Let's review what we can do to bolster bone density via nutrition and lifestyle. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services recommends moderate intensity exercise of 150 minutes a week and 2 days of muscle strengthening activities twice a week. In the U.S., only 24% of adults meet these recommended guidelines. Exercise can also prevent bone loss, build strong bones in children, improve balance and coordination, and help prevent falls and fractures. What activity, though, is better for bone maintenance? Weight-bearing activity is better: jogging, climbing stairs, jumping, and hiking. In addition, resistance training will build bones, body weight exercises, and free weights. Traditional Chinese exercises may provide safe and feasible interventions for improving bone mineral density in middle-aged or elderly people. Let's now review nutrition for optimal bone density. The Harvard Healthy Plate is an excellent framework for building a plate of bone-building nutrients. This plan advocates for healthy oils such as olive oil. Veggies, fruits, and whole grains fill up 75% of your plate. Protein sources such as beans and fish are recommended. Here is a great example of the Harvard Healthy Plate for bone health. Salmon is high in protein, omega-3 fatty acids, calcium, and vitamin D. Whole grains such as brown rice have fiber and magnesium. This veggie medley has red pepper that is loaded with vitamin C. In addition, blackberries are a great source of vitamin C and fiber. Let's review some more foods that are great for bone building. Fruits loaded with vitamin C include kiwis, strawberries, and oranges. Bone-enhancing protein includes salmon, tofu, eggs, and beans. Foods with magnesium include spinach, nuts, and whole grains. Likewise, calcium can be found in fortified nut milks and tofu. And finally, for a veggie saute that is chock full of calcium, omega-3s, and magnesium, let's use spinach, collard greens, or bok choy with olive oil and a sprinkling of chopped almonds. For peak bone mass, and to maintain it as we age, aim for 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per week. Include 2 to 3 days of strength training. Add impact activities like jumping to help build bone in the femur and lower body. Follow a balanced diet rich in calcium, vitamin D, protein, and magnesium. Avoid the standard American diet or SAD, as well as alcohol, smoking, and vaping. And get adequate sunlight to support natural vitamin D production. I hope these habits empower you to build, protect, and maintain strong bones for life.